let us know who you are, what you do, and how you fall into the two topics of mental health and SRHR. And then also share with us an emoji that represents how happy you are to be on today's panel. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Regan Chimba. I work with Debug Media as a fact checker, and my fact checking is in line with health and mental health and climate. I work with Streamline Communications Agency as a creative director. I also work as a media trainer with GoldServe and Serve Digital. And I work with Serene Minds as a moderator for health-related men, mostly for men, mental health issues. Yeah, that emoji, I would say, I don't know the names of the emojis, but there is this emoji which has a tongue out and one eye closed.
Oh, okay. I think I know that. This one goes like,
that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you all. My name is Menya Julius. I work with Hope for Life Uganda, and as a programs manager, I manage programs, and I'm very excited that I'm sharing a panel and all of you as experts to share and learn from you. I also work as a proposal development consultant, and I've worked on several projects, but basically in SHR and mental health. I have a strong attachment with SHR because I've been in this field for all years. I have a personal experience journey and also as expertise. Worked with reproductive health in Uganda throughout the journey. I am too passionate about working with young people, especially those living in slum areas. And my emoji for today is, there is that emoji in WhatsApp with a woman in a red that says that like this.
Oh, the dancing woman.
Dancing one, yeah. Thank you so much.
I would like to also invite another panelist as we wait for her chair to be brought onto stage. Joanna Atukunda as well, who's going to be joining us. I'm going to request the team to please hurry up and bring a seat for Joanna. Emma? Let's have a seat for Joanna prepared. Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Anyway, my name is Faith Agumia Jemima. I'm an author. I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm also a team leader at Kwaimani Community, an organization that specializes in suicide prevention among ages 10 to 23. And we do this work through creativity and the arts. I'm also an award-winning mental health advocate with the Leadership Through Experience Award from the Ministry of Health. I also run, I'm a team leader at an organization called Babusoga Foundation that also promotes health and morality and education in the rural areas of Busoga. I am also a chairwoman for an organization, a company called Queen of Ginger City that is transforming to Queen of Cities, where we mentor pageant queens to be queens of purpose and queens of change. So I'm glad to be here.
What's your emoji for today?
Oh, my emoji is that monkey face with,
the shy monkey.
The blushing.
Okay.
Yeah, greetings everyone. Chisto Julius is my name. I'm commonly known as Munachano, the village champion. I represent those who come from the village. So I'm the country administrator for Your Ally Foundation. Your Ally works with families for individuals struggling with substance use. I'm a counselor. I have experience in addiction counseling. I'm also mastering in clinical psychology. Thank you.
What's your emoji, Julius?
Wow, surprise.
Surprise, eh?
Yes, I'm surprised to meet some of my colleagues here.
Oh, that's lovely to know. Yes, Jovia.
Greetings to you all. My name is Jovia Kusima, a menstrual justice promoter, building a period-friendly world through education, product supply, and evidence-based, that is M&E. And I'm a vice chair of the EU Youth Sounding Board. and also a researcher, and I'm currently carrying a research under TB, that is under the hospital of Hoima Regional Referral Hospital, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Finally, our seat is here.
Slum Africa. I work with young people in slum dwelling areas, and our focus areas are sexual reproductive health rights, economic empowerment, water sanitation, hand hygiene, then HIV and AIDS. My emoji for today, I think I overused the laughing emoji. Yes.
Should we expect a lot of laughter today in your submission?
Maybe. The questions will determine, but I love laughing. Yes, sometimes I come off serious, but I actually love laughing all the time.
So, like I shared before, we're going to be looking at how we can use art how we can use how we can break the silence using art to champion mental health and SRHR. I'll start with you, Julius. You said that you have, Julius Menya, you said you had a personal attachment to this conversation. Because every time we're talking about mental health, SRHR, we are always talking from book knowledge, what we are learning on Google and the statistics and the ChatGPT. Yet we are asking for real life experiences. So what was that point for you?
Thank you, and I think for me, I'm a born of Eastern Uganda, and statistics shows that we are one of the regions with the highest fertility rate, and this was evident in my real house, where I started to be sexual reproductive health advocate from my house, where I used to grow up with sisters, and they used to experience issues to do with sexual reproductive health challenges. I had my young sister who follows me, and she conceived while at school. So when she conceived while at school, it was a hard experience for her in that she couldn't share it with anyone at home. She only shared it with the peers at school. So a time came when the peers advised her to do, of course, unsafe abortion. It was a terrible experience for her. It was a time when I became a mental expert, because by that time I wanted to befriend her, and I regretted why I was not a best friend to her, because she frankly told me, I've realized that among my brothers, sisters, family, I have no friend. How could you leave me to do this thing? So it was the family, it was abominable, and also she couldn't share it with anyone else. So she did unsafe abortion. It was terrible for her, and we almost lost her. Since then, I made my commitment to start advocating for sexual reproductive health, starting from my home. So when I got into spaces, when I was at university, I did my internship with Reproductive Health Uganda, and I really got to know the experience from not all my family, but I came to spaces where I truly understand that sexual reproductive health is a critical issue and component that we need to tackle as young people in the space. So since then, I have been advocating, and I've never rented back, and I've been championing access to sexual reproductive health.
Allow me to first apologize that something like that happened to you, but I think I'll go to Joanna. Joanna, like he shared, and like very many other people have shared, there is always a problem about communication and talking. Why do you think it is still hard for young people in Uganda to openly talk about their SRHR challenges, their mental challenges?
Thank you so very much, Hannah. So, health communication in itself looks at changing, influencing, and educating people about their behavior, about anything to do with their sexuality, their reproductive health, and of course, when it comes to changing the narrative, we are going to agree that in Uganda or Africa at large, we're still living in a conservative society that is so much rooted in culture, in religion, in community beliefs and everything. So personally working in a slum area, there's so many myths and conceptions about reproductive health. And now that is just a community, but also where we come from. I always share this example that when I was at university and I think I'm like up to second year, I had no idea why people take certain things. And so even just before that, I think I was in senior 2, I went back home for holiday and I get like stomach pain, something like it was unusual. So, and then my other cousin was also sick, so they take us to the hospital. And when we reach there, good enough, the doctor is a relative. So when I enter his room, I explain to him how I'm feeling, and he tells me, "Has mommy told you anything?" And then I looked at her. So the doctor's room was open, and my auntie was outside. So I looked at her like, "Tell me something that the doctor thinks you haven't told me." And my auntie quickly responds, "She knows everything." I didn't know what the doctor was referring to. I had no idea what it meant. So in his perception, when I explained to him, he thought maybe I was having cramps or premenstrual cramps, and then my auntie thinks I know anything, but I actually had no idea what it was. And then I get to university and, like that January hot season, I wake up and I am tired of taking water. Like I'm not really a water person. So I wake up and make, commuting from home. So I make bushera and I go to campus just to be able to like quench off the thirst and everything. So then I come back home. The one that had remained, like that day I actually walked home and I was very thirsty. So I take it and my auntie says, what you took in the morning wasn't enough. So my reply to her was, do they take it for satisfaction? Because we are taking it for thirst. And she didn't say anything. Then later, we are in a peer project discussion. And people start discussing this whole bushera thing. And I was like, hell no, that's why this woman kept quiet. And in her head, I must have thought, she's thinking, okay, this girl is taking bushera for other reasons. And I had no idea why she kept quiet and gave me an attitude, by the way, for the rest of the evening. So that's how much, and then she's not going to talk to you about anything. She's not going to refer to anything. She will just give you an attitude for some time, thinking you're doing bad manners. So in that case, I did a course in women health and everything. So as I get to this advocacy work and meet people in communities, I realize that we are in a society that does not want to talk about things, but they expect us to know things.
Yes. Just a curious question. How many of us in the audience were exposed to mental health conversation or SRHR conversation in your primary school? Wow. Only 2, 3, 4. How about high school? Still very few. University? Guys, who has never ever come across such conversations? Some of us don't know. Okay. Julius, I will come to you. Julius Chizito. Joanna says that we live in a conservative society. Some of us may not understand that because what do you mean conservative? We have internet, we are in a .com era, we can access any information. Is it really conservative?
Well, thank you so much for that. I totally agree with her. There is a lot of stigma about mental health. And I'm aware that even most of us here, we don't understand what mental health is.
It's why they didn't put up their hands.
So just to give you a quick information. So In 2019, statistics show that 14 million Ugandans struggle with mental health issues. So in 4 people you see, there is 1 that could be struggling with mental health issues. But then the issue of stigma, people fear to come out. Today I was reading a story of a young man, 17-year-old, at a certain school in Chegobe, who died by suicide yesterday. He was struggling, and then he tried telling to his friends, but then he couldn't get help. So he went and harmed himself. So it does happen that most of us are unaware about these issues, but also most of us fear to come out and share about our struggles. Research shows that 90% of Ugandans struggling with mental health issues do not get support. Why? They fear to be judged. They fear to look as a burden. They also fear to look as weak or crazy people. Yeah, we all know that when someone is taken to Utabika, that person is weak, crazy, and mad. But that is not the case, because all of us are candidates to developing mental health issues. Yes, today you might be okay, happy, but tomorrow maybe you lose someone, or maybe you try substances and you get this condition. So I believe there is a stigma that stops people from knowing, but also from seeking help. Yeah.
So that's the conservative we're talking about, not conservative of physical technology and all those things, but conservative in the mind. Jovia, in your experience, when it comes to stigma, how can we as creators, as innovatives, use our platforms to make it normal to talk about some of these things?
First and foremost, thank you so much. My point is on gender expectations. And here we are looking at the society always wants a man to be the man up and the woman to stay quiet. Unfortunately, in churches or in hospitals, you find more women praying for their families or blessing their families than men. Yes, I believe that some men are really present. I'm not denying it. But then, why would the society keep on having the gender expectations of a man to speak up and for a girl or a woman to stay quiet? So, as we are trying to pick out the stigma, it also comes to us as youth leaders or the community leaders, because we need to sensitize the men, because men do not want to listen to women, and yet we all have equal rights. And just like the SRHR, when I was moving a motion in 2024 in the East African Youth Parliament, it is not only Uganda whereby it is denying the SRHR services. Even the whole of East Africa, statistics are showing that they're all missing out the beauty in SRHR, but rather they are looking at, you're teaching the young people how to do sex, or you're teaching them about sexuality. And then when you show them that here is the law, what does it say? Or what is the beauty when it comes to SRHR? In my region, where I come from, Bunyoro region, 56% of the adolescents lack SRHR. And if I'm a youth leader, what do I do about that? Unfortunately, even the officials in the districts, the leaders, the community leaders, the first thing they think of, are you going to teach them the poses that are done in bed? So I call upon the youth leaders, the young people here, whatever you're doing in your community, that the gender equality is really needed, and also let us listen to both sides, the male side and also the female side. Thank you so much.
much.
Okay, so thank you so much, Jovi. We talked about sensitization. I think I'll go to Faith now. You spoke about all these different platforms you're on. How, I'm going to ask you the same question. How can we as creatives, as innovators, as learners, as health communicators here, use our platforms like you are on, to make it normal to talk about such conversations? Give us a step by step, because some of us think we must have $1 million in our bank account to throw a huge campaign in Kampala or in Tungamo. Give us simple step-by-steps that we can use in our communities, on our platforms, to make this conversation normal.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I will start by saying we are the story. Like, each of us has encountered mental health in a way. Each of us has encountered SRH in a way. As simple as, let's say you're in a public space for girls and then you stamp. Maybe you are not sure about when your periods are coming, or for some reason maybe the pad you are wearing wasn't, thick enough, and then you stamp and then you're scared to stand up. You stay seated in one place the whole day. It's as simple as that. I think we should look at it in that way, that it concerns me, and then you start from there. Something that has affected you. Look at people who have lost parents around you, someone who has lost a friend, maybe how bad health affected one of the people in your family. I think we should start by that. What has affected me directly? What could I have done different? What could my family have done different? I'll speak for myself. I struggled with mental health challenges for a very, very long time, until I had the courage to put it in a book. But before, I had no knowledge. I figured, self-harm is just a part of me, it's just who I am. And in the school I was in at the time, we were a group of students who were used to that. We used to put on bangles all the time, and watches, wrist watches, you put on like 2 at a time. But you just don't want people to see the scars on your wrist, or you don't want people to notice the things that you're doing to your body. But for you, you figure, that is just who I am. Like, it's just me, that's my character, that's how I live my life, until I lost a very close friend of mine to suicide, and then ended up in the same position. But the lead surgeon on my case helped me know that I was struggling with a mental health challenge. I didn't know then. Now I imagine that I walked in, maybe I was being operated upon, and the surgeon didn't care enough to tell me, or the surgeon didn't notice that. I wouldn't have known,
Yeah.
So I figured that you start with yourself. I put out my book to share because I noticed in society, my friends' family up to date, in their community, they are shunned. And to our parents, we know belonging to a community is everything. Our mothers, for those that are Anglicans and like churches, how our mothers are attached to Mothers Union, attached to all these things. The mother to my friend was chased out of Mothers Union in her region.
What?
And the father as well was alienated by all the men in the society. So the family is looked at as the cursed one. They can't go back in society the same way. His siblings, up to now, are still recovering, still grappling to fit into society. So this is where the book came from, because I was so mad at how people were perceiving people who are struggling with these challenges. I'm like, maybe if they have insight in what happens in the struggle, if they had insight in what happens in a victim's mind, how you actually feel in that moment, maybe they will show empathy. Maybe they will know how, when, and what, and why to help. So, yes.
Can you please give Faith a round of applause, because it's not easy to share your story. And I love the fact that you're sharing your story, because people don't understand how powerful that can be. When you're silent, Unnormal things seem to be normal. Yet they are not normal. But now they are normal because you are silent. There is a very famous quote on TikTok that says, "A closed mouth doesn't get fed." Yes, that also works here in this particular sense. I think I'll go to Regan. Regan, you've done a lot of journalistic work around some of these conversations. Can you please let us into your experience working on a project that has opened up conversations around mental health or SRHR? What made it work? Because some of us are here, we have ideas, we have projects, but we want to learn from your experience how you were able to tackle such a sensitive conversation.
Well, thank you so much. I'm still touched by that story of the lady, the family which is actually isolated. It is hard to live in a society when you're isolated. So, and that is Africa for you. So, to get to your question, the projects I've done, mostly came from my personal experience as I was growing up. And most of the conversations I've been engaging in are around the experiences I had as a man. And that's why I come out for men. So in our societies, men are expected to be strong. They're expected to be up, to stand up for themselves. And we forget that men are actually weak. And we think women are weaker, but we all have weak points and we have strong points. As a man, there are struggles I face, and a woman has struggles they face. So, by the society we are living in, they tend to take men as the strong pillar of everything. When a woman wants to cry, they will look for a man to cry on their shoulder. And some of the conversations I had growing up, I'm not a football fan. So my classmates used to make fun of me. I grew up around many girls. So I know a lot about girls than men. It is in secondary, that's when I got to learn about certain things about men, boys, what, but I wasn't a fan. And that isolated me from both. So girls were telling me, please go. Boys, you're not fitting in. So I had to figure it out on my own. Now, they used to make fun of me because I don't support football. I had to attach myself to a certain football team, which I later on dropped because of how it performs. I won't mention it.
Arsenal.
No? That one. So, when I started getting into conversations around men, I do most of my conversations around in church. So we were in church one day, and we have a men's altar, and we pray as men. So at that altar, we were given a chance to share our deeper secrets as men. And one of us shared the rape case. Do you believe that men can be raped? Okay, I'm glad you can.
Right, yes.
For us, we were shocked. In church, how can you say you were raped? So, this young man told us how everything went. I shared my story of how the football thing tormented me, how I was isolated. And the pastor came up and said, you know what, Regan? Men around, most of the things that keep us indoors or keep us into mental health issues, and we don't want to speak up, the main thing is all about shame. Men, we are ashamed to say we are weak. We are ashamed to stand up for ourselves. You think when you mention it, you're going to be judged. When you say it, you're going to be taken as a weaker person. So we tend to hide our shame. And in the end, we end up doing the negative. We beat women because we are ashamed. We abuse law because we are ashamed. And you find that in that sequencing, if you don't solve the shame you have inside you, you end up destroying you and the people around you. So one of the projects that was a success, it was around sensitizing people on, again in church, we were sensitizing young men to speak up, and we were giving them information about how they can stand up, how they can seek help, how they can speak up when you're hurt. How do you communicate? As men, it is hard for us to communicate. We communicate with actions, but what about telling a young boy that when you're hurt, please say it out. Speak up. Tell your girlfriend that I'm hurt, than bottling up that pain and that shame with you. Like, okay, how can I be taken up? How can I tell my wife that ABCD, you're doing this and it is hurting me? I'd rather find another wife to be comfortable, right? So that's, in a nutshell, that's what my life has been around.
I think you've also indirectly explained the whole nonchalant vibe we have lately in our community. I'm only going to allow 2 questions because I've been told I have 5 minutes. Anybody with 2 questions? 2 questions? Any questions from the audience? 1? 2. The lady behind in the jacket. Can you get the microphone to them, please? Yes? Please stand up. The people I've chosen, please stand up. No, the lady behind you. Yes, Patience. Patience. We can still have conversations after, yeah? Patience.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'd like to ask the author, how has it been like for you using literary art to share your experiences, especially in the area to do with mental health?
Thank you. Yes, the gentleman.
Thank you very much, the panelists. I think it was not really a question.
If it's not a question, please sit down. Yeah. Give him if he has a question.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Mjurani Alfashil from School of Public Health, Makerere University. My question is perfectly going to this fellow gentleman. From World Health Organization, it clearly shows that 1 in 4 persons, they are suffering from mental health. Almost a quarter of us here are suffering from mental health. But in Uganda currently, we are not having capacity for mental illnesses. So how can we use art? How can we use our own leadership skills to integrate mental health into primary health care? Thank you.
I love those questions. Please clap for the questions. Faith, in just 2 minutes.
How has it been? Well, I remember when I was launching my book, small backstory. When I was launching my book, I figured I'm just launching a book because I'd always wanted to be an author. I'm like, just launching my book and that's it. I didn't know that the book would take a life of its own. It could just open up so many other things on its own. So it's been, at first it was quite challenging because immediately after the launch I had back-to-back media rounds, and it opened up parts of the book that I was not yet ready to talk about. I didn't know I was not ready to talk about them to the crowd until I was faced with camera, back-to-back interviews. You're talking about your story, before you know it, you're talking about things that you've not healed from yet, and you have no guidance on how to share. But it's been quite an interesting journey because as we speak, I've sold over 1,103 copies, and people have actually really received it. Over 40 schools around the country have copies, and the schools are giving me amazing feedback from the students. Them knowing that there's a community out there they can relate with, it's enough by reading the book and figuring out that someone else is going through something I'm going through, I'm not alone, I know people are suffering and I can seek help, has been really refreshing.
Wow, it's impressive how you're using writing to communicate that. Yes, Julius, in just 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. So one thing I think we need to acknowledge that mental health does not discriminate. So it is important for us to take care of our mental well-being. Before a counselor, before a parent, before a friend, how do you prioritize yourself? Are you loving yourself? Case of compassion. And it's true that Uganda has less than 60 psychiatrists. So it means that most of the people that are struggling don't receive support. And what else can we look at? Also, kindness. It does happen, but most of the people that are struggling are treated in a way that is not appropriate. It's not empathetic. So I think there has to be a lot of non-judgmental approach, empathetic approach, because this will help us to normalize conversations. This will help us to support each other, right? So that is one thing, but also the basics, physical exercises, okay? If it is far, then you can reach out for support. They are trained professionals, counselors, psychiatrists, social workers that can support you in these struggles.
Is it free, Julius? You're talking like some of these things are free to access. Maybe they are, we don't know where to find them.
Well, thank you so much for that. Well, I should say that they are not free services, but they are affordable, okay? So it is a matter of understanding, where do I go? We know that Mutabika Hospital provides free mental health support. So there is someone who is presenting here. They are providing teletherapy. So I think it's about health. Yeah, it has a cost, but what matters most, is it your health or your cost?
Or your pocket.
They don't matter, but yeah, investing that in mental health is very important.
Thank you very much. Now, unfortunately, our time is fast spent. I'm going to request the panelists to stand up. No more submissions because the MC is on my neck. Let's please stand up. And this is how we are going to do our final remarks. In just a brief sentence, give us your final remark and we are going to repeat it. In just a brief sentence, think. I'm going to give you 2 seconds to think. Yeah, something you want us to walk away with. And I'll start with Regan. You make a statement, you repeat, you sit.
We are a healing generation, so let us heal the next generation.
Okay, we are a healing generation. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, we go. We are a healing generation. Yes, Joanna.
Okay, I thought they hadn't finished. So, art speaks when words fail, and stories heal where silence has caused harm.
It's very long. Have you gotten it? No. Make it briefer. Art
speaks when words fail, and stories heal where silence has caused harm.
Okay. Art speaks where words fail,
and stories heal where silence has caused harm.
Okay. Yes, Julius.
Policy touches the head, and art touches the soul.
Wow. Policy touches the head, but art touches the soul. Wow. Yes, Faith.
Extend grace to yourself and to others.
Ooh. Extend grace to yourself and others.
You matter, there is help, there is hope.
Wow. Are you ready? Yes. You matter, there is
help, there is hope.
Yes, Jovia.
One poem, one story, one song can change someone's well-being.
Wow. One story, one song can change someone's. Please give a round of applause for our panel.